Hello again.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you
Now,
too.
last time I spoke to you, I was talking about the amount of travel that goes on in the show, where we've gone, and I was just talking about Scotland and France. And in season 3, I think we went to Boston, Scotland again, Jamaica, and then we end up on the shores of America.
Yeah.
What's it like doing all those different locations? How do you get your head around that?
Well, unfortunately, we don't actually go to all those places, but no, it's, this is the great thing about this show. I think it keeps it really fresh for all of us, is that we don't go to the same office every single day. And that's great because it just, it keeps things interesting, and you get new characters who come in all the time, who come in with a lot of enthusiasm and freshness, when we're like 7 months in. But it's just the momentum of this show is fantastic as an actor, because it just does keep going and going in new and exciting ways, and that's only a good thing.
And where we find Claire at the start of this season, is she finally home? Has she found a happy place now?
I wouldn't say at the beginning that she's finally home, but I do think that as we progress through the season, that yes, Claire and Jamie do find their home. And that's a big theme, I think, of this season. I think for Claire, America has been so good to her in terms of that's where she raised her daughter, and that's where she, became a surgeon and all of those things. So she has a connection, an emotional connection to the place already when they first land there. I mean, obviously it's at a very different time than when she was there, and the way that the society is set up there is quite difficult for her, I think, especially in the beginning when they land there. She has a very conflicted response to what she's seeing and what she's sort of surrounded by. But I think that she knows where America's headed. And within that, I think she thinks that she can protect them as a family, and be able to find a way for them to be safe and build a real community and a family home for themselves.
One of my favourite scenes in the last series was, or one of the favourite moments was when she kind of expressed her opinions about slavery, and we saw her attitude towards that. Are we going to see a reflection of that in terms of how she treats Native Americans and how the rest of the cast do?
I mean, definitely. This is a story of a family, an immigrant family coming to America, and it's the beginning of what we see as modern America today. So yes, there's definitely going to be encounters with plantations, and there's also, they have Cherokee and Mohawk neighbors that they end up becoming very friendly with, and you see the different the different reactions through different characters about how those relationships build and what the friendliness or lack thereof is. And that's been really interesting. I did not know much about American history. I lived in America for over a decade, but I didn't go to school there, so you don't know all of the back history. And so it's been quite interesting to be able to see that, especially, in the context of today's conversations that are happening. I think people forget sometimes where their origins are, but it's been really interesting to watch that.
I want to ask about a couple more, I guess, characters from the past. But at this stage, what is Claire's feelings towards Bree and Frank as well?
I mean, towards Bree, I think she misses her deeply. I don't think a day goes by where Claire doesn't think about her, doesn't worry about her. It's her daughter, and it's part of her. And also, she is in a way keeping her alive by talking to Jamie about her and explaining to Jamie who their daughter is, the kind of woman that she's become, and being able to relive her childhood through telling the stories to him. And that's a very important bonding exercise, both for Jamie and Claire, but it's very important for her to be able to have this person that she can talk to him about her. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And with Frank, I think that Claire has always had a real love and a real respect for Frank. I think that the tension and the anger that they had towards each other was born out of frustration, and both of them being unfulfilled in their life. And I think with having some distance from that, you know, I think she's able to see him for the good man that he was, and the good qualities that he had. But yeah, I think, you know, you can always look back and let go of the anger easier when it's in the rear view mirror. So
do you miss Tobias at all? Because obviously you shared so many scenes with him.
Of course, yeah. It's definitely, you know, the dynamic of the show changes every season, and, you know, it's been a real loss, I think, to not have him around. But, you know, we do have great new characters in. We were just saying it the other day. It's like when Sam and I started in season 1, we were kind of like the young ones, and now we're definitely not. Like, so we've got all these young'uns coming in, telling us how it is on the streets, you know.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to be the biggest threat in this series to Claire and Jamie's happiness?
I'm not sure if I can name names, but.
I mean, okay, I guess, how big a part will the looming war of independence play in the story?
You know, I think that when we get towards the end of the season, that will become more and more of an issue, and it will play more. I think it's still on the fringes. You know, we're still a couple of years off from that, but definitely the moments leading up to where the loyalties are and who's on what side, they start to definitely play. They come into play throughout the season, and that's quite interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. And we're in Aunt Jacosta's place here. What kind
she's got terrible lighting. It keeps flickering on and off.
Yeah, I know.
The ghost of Aunt Jacosta.
Something in the weather, I guess. What's the relationship between the two of them, Claire and Aunt Jacosta?
I mean, Aunt Jocasta is a fantastic character. Definitely a force to be reckoned with. Played wonderfully by Maria Doyle Kennedy. Or is it Kennedy Doyle? She's going to kill me. But their relationship is, I think there's a bit of suspicion on both sides, on both parts of these women about each other. But there's also a respect and an admiration. I think for Claire, the setup that Jocasta has is quite difficult for Claire to accept. And that causes some strain between their relationship, as obviously you can imagine, because Jocasta thinks that she's a fantastic plantation owner and all of those things. So there's definitely a strain there, and I think also there's some kind of vying for Jamie's loyalty or Jamie's attention that happens. But in the end of the day, I think they're both quite formidable women who are able to recognize and sort of have the respect for each other because of that. Mm-hmm.
My final question is, we've seen Claire do all this training and become a surgeon. How much of that is she going to get to use in this new world?
Well, I think, you know, it's fantastic that she does have all of these skills, and no matter where Claire is, it's part of her nature to want to heal. And I think once you take the Hippocratic Oath, you kind of, that's you set for life, that you will be in service to others in that way. So definitely her implements have changed. She has to get a little bit more creative in how she goes about maybe performing some of her surgeries, but it definitely plays a big part, which is fun for me.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Cheers.
very much.